Howdy friends, welcome back to Plumbing with Tim. Join me in today's video as we work on yet another Sloan valve like we did last week, but this time with a twist. Let's go. As promised, we're working on another Sloan valve today. It's for a toilet, but not an ordinary toilet. Take a look. Surprise! Oh, look at that baby toilet. Yeah. That's for little ones. There's the valve. We got a problem with that valve though. Let me show you. We all know about Sloan valves. The way to shut them off is right here where this flathead screw is. I have twisted that thing off as hard as I possibly can, but water keeps on getting by there. That means that this shut-off valve, before I can do any work here, is bad. Today's video lesson is going to be showing you how to get this thing off and replace it with a new stop. Pay attention. All right, behind the cameras, which you didn't see before we even started on this job, we went ahead and we secured the water meter out by the street, shut off the water to the building, and drained everything down so everything's dead. This is what we got to do to get this stop removed and put a new one on for the Sloan valve. Things first, we need lots of rags because there's going to be water still coming out from up top here. We're actually going to put a bucket to try to catch as much of the water as we can, and then we're going to try to take that nut off. Got a little bucket here because once we take that nut off, we're going to have water still in here. It's a large facility building, so even though there's no water coming out of the faucets, there's some that's going to be trapped in here. So let's go ahead with a wrench and take this nut off right here. Nice and easy. Get that bucket up underneath there. Now take this nut off. All right, so I don't know how much water is going to come out of here. Just make sure to have a bucket ready to go. Like I said, large facility, a lot of water lines overhead. Nobody's in this facility at the time, but I have reason to believe there is a good amount of water still stuck up in this thing. We're working on the little kitty toilet, Sloan valve. We got to put a new shutoff valve in here. I think we're in good shape. Here we go. There it is. Now we've removed that retention nut and all that stuff. You can see that flathead screw that's on there. We need to try to get that whole apparatus out of here. Like I said, there's still water that's back behind here, so pay attention. It needs to come out of here as well. Give me a minute, let me get another tool. Nice and easy. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing out of here as well. The stop itself is located behind this plastic deal, so just pay attention. We'll get this out of here. You're going to see more water coming out. We're getting close. Always be ready. Have lots of rags. Water shut off. There it comes. See that? All right. This is the Sloan valve. It's nothing else. And you see I've got a bag here, and if you look down to the bottom, it says 3/4. It's a 3/4 inch style and size, and on this Sloan valve part it says 1 inch right there. We're going to start by opening this up with a 1 inch and see if this size fits into this apparatus, and we can actually use it without using the old parts, because the old parts are bad and I don't have any replacements for them. All right, let's open up the 1 inch kit first. I got the little bump stopper that will actually be what stops the water as a shut off. And then I have this apparatus where that little screw and stuff is with a spring behind it. So let's try to put this together. This little bump stop is going to sit right like that. So see that action? Let's go ahead and see if we can put this back into place and then put the nut that we originally took off of there and see if that matches up. All right, we have this part right here. It's got the little screw in it, see that? And a spring behind it. Well, this piece right here is a bump stop. See that? This is the end that's going to be facing in first, which is going to be shoving itself against that opening where the water's coming in to make that stop, kind of like this. And that spring is going to be the activator when you turn the screw. See that? Let's see if it fits. Bump stop, that's the first thing that's going to go in, but we got our apparatus. There's that nut that I was telling you about. There's the screw. We're going to slide that in like so. Put the bump stop on there. See how that's all done like that? It's nice and easily. Just see if this will slide in here like so. Oh, look at that. We're going to start tightening this thing up. Nice and easy. Get it started. There we go. All right. We took this nut back off because what I found when I did take this off, there had been some old Teflon tape on there for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe someone took this off at another time and maybe the threads were kind of boogered up a little bit and they had Teflon tape. Well, I took the old Teflon tape off and we put some new one on there just in case. We're not hurting nothing. This is not standard practice, but something was obviously wrong with that. So we're just gonna follow suit. Let's go ahead and get this thing snugged back on here. Remember, we put that whole brand new shut-off system in there. Bump stops, spring, everything. And get this to a point where it's snugged, just like that. There you go. Now see, look, there's that flathead screw. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn it clockwise all the way to the off position until it stops. Which means while we're turning that in the off position, that spring is activating and pushing that bump stop back into here inside this valve body, stopping the water from flowing and stuff. We have another problem on here and I'll show you what it is. Originally came here because this toilet would not flush. Well, that's telling me that it has a bad diaphragm inside here. So we're gonna have to take the top cap off of here, which is, it could be stuck on there pretty good. I might have to spray something on there. This has got to come off, and underneath here is the diaphragm, which we're going to replace with a brand new one. Nice and gently, we're going to tap this. Wish me luck, these things sometimes get stuck on here. Here we go. Not today, baby. Not today. There we go. I have to clean these threads up really good. Just like the last video I told you, anytime you take these apart, you need to clean them up really good or else they'll leak. This is just the cap. And we got a cover. As it's come off, and underneath there is a diaphragm. There we go, here she comes. Off with the cover, and along with it came the diaphragm. See that? Let's take a closer look at it. Oh, look at all the wear on here. The rubber is all whopped out. And look, there's an actual hole. We're not talking about the small little deal here that we usually have a hole. There's another hole. So this thing was never able to hold pressure up inside the vessel or inside that valve, and it just had nothing to give it for a forceful flush. So this thing's gone. We're going to replace it with a brand new 1.6 gallon per flush diaphragm made for a toilet. I know y'all have seen me do these kind of videos before and stuff like that. Things a little bit different about here. I've never showed you how to replace one of those shut-off valves on one of these Sloan valves. So that's very important. If you have any questions about it or you didn't catch it, go back and watch it from where I started. Remember, there's two sizes you're going to run into usually. They're going to be 3/4 inch little shut-off valves or 1 inch. You'll know the difference because one's going to work and one's not going to work. Right now I got my apprentice inside cleaning up all those little threads and stuff and greasing everything down. We'll put the new diaphragm in there, put it together, turn the water back on and see if we've got any leaks. We got everything all cleaned up, threads all scraped up with a wire brush as well as those threads up in there. Here is our new Sloan A41A 1.6 gallons per flush water closet diaphragm. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of here. There we go. Dump it out. Is that, and the part that goes on there, the pressure release, and there it is. Let's go ahead and drop it into the valve. Kind of like that. It's going to follow with the plastic cover that came off. Just like that. Nice and easy. Now we've got the main cover. We've already put grease on the threads. There we go. Take your time, hand tight, and then we'll snug it. We'll get the water onto the property and see if we got any leaks. There she is. Back on, I don't see water spraying everywhere. This is in the off position. Let's get a flathead screwdriver, turn this on, make sure nothing's leaking here or in here. Everything looks good so far. I hear it pressurizing. Seems to be working. I think we need to turn the water pressure up a little bit. All right, let's let it rip, tater chip. Oh yeah. Happy little heinies. Any leaks? I'm not seeing any. All right, let me put that cover back on and wrap this thing up. Take your time. Get it started. This just to cover it up so we don't have any little fingers in here trying to mess with that shut-off valve, which we replaced in here, remember. And that was a 1 inch, not a 3/4. You may end up running into a 3/4 down the road, so always bring one of each. Let's try it one more time. To do for this one, thanks so much for hanging out and watching how to change out a bump stop shut off on a Sloan valve, this case for a children's toilet in a facility and stuff like that. Lots of little moving parts and stuff. Don't forget to make sure you find the parts and stuff. If you start turning that little flathead screw and water is spraying out of there, there's something wrong with that valve. A lot of times you kind of jimmy them around and make it stop. But in this case, the thing wouldn't shut off at all. So I had to shut the water off to the property and then go get my parts and do that, and plus replace the inside diaphragm on the top of that. Got any questions or comments, leave them down below, and don't forget to keep plumbing.